Welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on Oracle Fusion Cloud ERP. We're talking about a super common practice that seems efficient, seems harmless, but could actually be a silent killer for your budget.
So let me just ask you this straight up. Is your out-of-the-box software setup actually a ticking time bomb for your finances? And I'm serious. A lot of companies are getting hit with these massive, totally unexpected costs, all from security roles they thought were perfectly safe. All right, here's our roadmap. First, we'll talk about why those default roles are just so tempting. Then, we'll dive into the hidden dangers and the shocking costs. After that, we'll switch gears and look at the real solution, custom roles. And finally, I'm going to give you a concrete action plan so you can take back control. Okay, let's dive right in. First up, the allure of seated roles. Why do so many smart companies end up taking what feels like the easy way out?
So first, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. When we say seated roles, what are we even talking about? Well, they're just the pre-packaged, ready-to-go user permissions that come standard with Oracle. Templates for common jobs like accounts payable manager or just employee. So what's the big temptation? It's pretty simple, actually. They promise you'll go live faster, they seem cheaper to manage, they're standardized, and hey, they make adding new modules feel like a total breeze. It's that whole plug-and-play dream, right?
The best way to think about it is like this. A seated role is like buying a suit right off the rack. It basically fits, you can wear it today, and it gets the job done without all the time and money you'd spend on a tailor. But, as we're about to find out, a poor fit can have some seriously expensive consequences. Now, to really get a handle on the risks, we need to do a super quick breakdown of how this security is structured. Honestly, it's kind of like building with Legos. At the very bottom, you have one tiny piece, a privilege. That's one brick that gives you access to do one little thing. Then you bundle those bricks into duty roles. Then you collect a bunch of those into a job role. And finally, you have these big abstract roles that give general access to everybody, like the basic employee role. This whole hierarchy is the key to understanding where it all goes wrong. So, we've seen why that off-the-rack suit is so appealing. But now, let's talk about the hidden price tag. It's time to expose the dangers that are lurking just under the surface of these supposedly simple seated roles.
You see, all that convenience, it comes with some serious baggage. These roles are often bloated, with way too many permissions. Access a person will never, ever need. They're also filled with built-in conflicts that can get you in big trouble with auditors. They're usually a terrible fit for how your business actually works. And maybe the worst part, you lose all control.
And listen, this is not some made-up problem. It's a real-world nightmare. Auditors are coming in and finding a shocking number of unexpected separation of duties violations, and they're tracing them all back to these supposedly safe out-of-the-box roles. Here's a perfect and, frankly, a pretty terrifying example. The standard employee role, the one that's given to almost everyone in the company. It can have privileges that let a user get to data conversion tools and, get this, potentially create a brand new bank account for payments. That is a massive, totally unnecessary, and completely avoidable risk. And just when you think you've got it figured out, the ground literally shifts under your feet. Twice a year, Oracle pushes out these system patches, and they can automatically add new privileges to your seated roles. If you're not on top of it, your users could wake up one morning with access they should never, ever have.
All right, now let's follow the money. Because all these security and compliance risks, they all lead to one very real, very painful outcome: staggering, unexpected cost. And this is where the hidden costs really start to hurt. Buried deep inside these bloated roles are these little privileges that, once you assign them to even one user, automatically trigger a license for an entire software module. And we're talking about modules you might not even use, want, or have paid for yet.
This right here shows you the financial trap in action. Look at the left. That's the standard tax manager role. You'd think it just turns on a financials license, right? Wrong. It's also firing up licenses for procurement and supply chain, whether you need them or not. But look over on the right. A custom role that's been tailored to your needs. It only activates what is absolutely necessary. You could be saving a fortune.
And believe me, this isn't just a one-off problem. If you look at Oracle community forums, you'll see frustrated users have been pointing this out for years. It's a known issue where these roles grant access to services the client hasn't even licensed, creating this huge compliance and cost headache when the next audit comes around.
Okay, so what's the fix for this mess? Well, the good news is there's a much, much better way. The problems are big, but the solution is actually pretty straightforward and incredibly powerful. It all comes down to customization. So remember that off-the-rack suit we talked about? Well, custom roles are the solution. They're the perfectly tailored suit. They're designed to fit your business exactly, with zero wasted material, no extra risks, and absolutely no surprise costs.
See, when you invest the time to create custom roles, you're not just fixing a problem. You're gaining a huge advantage. You start enforcing least privilege access, which shuts down security holes. You get direct control over your software license costs, you align security perfectly with your business needs, and you make those audits so much smoother.
Okay, so the theory is great, but what can you actually do about all this? Let's talk about an action plan to help you take back control starting right now.
The key here is to build a habit of good governance. Here are 4 things you should be doing regularly. First, review Oracle's usage reports every single month. Second, analyze user access trends to spot anything weird. Third, conduct formal user access reviews. And finally, clean up those old, inactive accounts that are just sitting there, burning a hole in your budget.
And timing is everything here. This is not a one-and-done cleanup job. It's a life cycle. You need to be thinking about licensing before you go live, during implementation, and most importantly, on an ongoing basis. Make these reviews a standard part of your business, not some panicked reaction later on.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one thought. Your organization spends countless hours and resources tailoring its business processes to be as efficient as possible. So isn't it time you applied that same level of care and precision to your user access?